Right now, it's time for us to jive with a Jet. Not just a Jet, a legend. Not just a legend, but possibly the greatest beard the NFL has ever seen. On this episode, we are talking to Mr. Nick Mangold, who played at center for the Jets for 10 years and was regarded as one of the best to play in his position. He was a first-round pick in the 2006 draft and went on to be a seven-time Pro Bowler. Nick entered the New York Jets Ring of Honor at halftime in yesterday's game against the Bengals during a special ceremony which saw a sign bearing his name and number revealed within the stadium. Dan, quickly, just explain to us what the Ring of Honor really means.
I think the Ring of Honor is super special, and Nick could probably attest to that too, since he's actually in it. But now Nick became the 19th player in the history of the franchise, I believe, player, coach, to be inducted into the Ring of Honor. You're the best of the best. You're probably the ones that have left the most impact in this great tradition and great history that is attached to this organization, which now goes back upwards of 6 decades. So to have that attached to your name, I don't think there's anything better, and certainly I think Nick can vouch for that.
Yeah, it was definitely something very special. When you look back and you mentioned the 6 decades, like that's 60 years of guys have gone through these doors, not these specific doors, but doors in the organization. And there's only 19 of us up in the stadium. So that really weighed on me a lot Sunday morning. But then after it was all done, we got to have a lot of fun.
Nick, you wore the number 74 shirt, but you're the number 1 in our hearts. But who were your inspirations when you were growing up and watching the NFL?
It's funny, like I wasn't really associated with players that much. It was more just teams. I was a big Ohio State University fan. And in the NFL, I was a Bengals fan. So I grew up a big Boomer Esiason fan and Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson. Defensive tackle, actually. I loved watching
number 1 overall pick in the draft one time or another.
He was a solid player, but it's always funny. Like people were like, "Oh, you didn't have any offensive linemen." I was like, I don't know. I just wasn't paying attention. I was a kid.
And then Boomer Esiason became a Jets quarterback later on in his career after he left Cincinnati. Richie, I just realized because Nick mentioned it, he went to Ohio State. His school and my school are playing against each other this Saturday. Ohio State is playing Rutgers. I don't think we have to put a bet on that game. We don't have to put a bet on the game, though, because I'll tell you why. Because as much as I love my school, we have no chance. No chance.
No chance.
No chance.
No. I actually have a running bet with a friend. There's 7 more years left on it. It's 10-1. Just a friendly bet, 10-1, that Rutgers will ever beat Ohio State. And it's a 10-year bet. He's got 10 years to pull off the win.
Basketball's already happened.
I don't care about basketball.
Yeah, but basketball we're good. Football, we're still
You're
getting
coming up.
We're coming up, but it takes a while to jump into the Big Ten conference.
Yeah, you're never going to beat Ohio State, but you're coming up.
Not consistently, at least. So that's where we're at, Rich. That's where we're at.
Nick, you mentioned, as we mentioned earlier, you played center and you were 7-time Pro Bowler in that position as well. Can you tell the English fans just precisely what the center is all about, what skills are needed to play the position? Give us a breakdown of it.
Yeah, so center is very similar to the, we joke that it's the second quarterback on the field. It's the quarterback of the offensive line. And so my job is to make sure everyone's on the same page, getting the direction from the quarterback, and then, relaying that information to my offensive lineman, snapping the ball and at the right time, and then doing my job blocking, whether pass or run. So there's a lot of information that's passed when you talk about being a center in the NFL, and so it takes a lot of study. But that's what made it fun. It's like the chess match inside a game where you get to, you think what your opponent is trying to do to you, how you can counter that. And that's what drove me to ultimately love the position of the center.
What's interesting too, not just because you go into the Ring of Honor, but the fact that now you can look back on your career. Nowadays, it's rare for guys to spend their entire career with one team. The fact that you were able to do that with this organization, then you get that honor, of course, on Sunday, rightfully so, with the Ring of Honor. Does that make it even more extra special that you were a Jet and only a Jet?
Oh, definitely. And, when my time came to an end here, on the field, and as I was rehabbing and getting better, I had an opportunity to go somewhere else. And part of my decision not to go there was the fact that I wanted to be a Jet. Like, I know guys bounce around, especially long-term guys that would try to get a year or two somewhere else, and which is great, but it wasn't for me. So the fact that I can just say that I played for one team, there's only one jersey that has my name on it is something very special to me.
Nick, you've been over to London, and that leads me to my very next question. Apparently, you're a Spurs fan. What? Why? How?
Why?
So it started back. I was very late into the football.
Are we German? Great German accent.
Football. And so I got sucked in. I think it was the 2012 World Cup, where my buddy had his family in Brazil, so he was following the Brazilian team, and he was locked in. It was during training camp, so you're trying to find any way to distract your mind when you're not talking football. And so he was teaching me kind of the aspects of the gameplay, match play, what was going on. I mean, he taught me about I was doing the basics, the offsides. Like I had no idea what that meant. So it was like teaching a 5-year-old. And then I fell in love, and then the World Cup ended, and I was like, I need more. And so he was like, well, check out the EPL, which is, Saturday mornings. And so I was just watching random games. And then I had an opportunity to meet Harry Kane. And he was very friendly to me when I was over there in London, I think in 2015. And I was like, all right, well, now I'm a Spurs fan. So I don't have any real good meaning to it. But that's my team.
Soccer big in your family? Like your kids play soccer? Because like youth soccer here in the States, it's really, really popular.
It is. My little ones play it. My oldest tried to do football and soccer. It just didn't work out for him. It was too much time commitment for both of them. So he obviously dropped soccer and stuck with football. But my little ones do it, and it's fun watching them run around kicking the ball. And I don't know if it's ever going to stick for any of them, but it's neat watching them as they're quite young.
Apparently, you are quite a sporting family. Your sister Holly came over to London to compete in the 2012 Olympic Games as a weightlifter. Now, I can imagine what the answer is to this. Are you even the strongest person in your family?
Yes, I'm obviously, because I have the older brother strength. I would never compare numbers. But yes, of course, I'm the strongest. I'm the older brother.
Yeah, that innate older brother strength that no matter what, you will beat her at anything.
Yes, at anything. But it was a lot of fun. It was awesome for her in her weightlifting career to be able to make it over to London for the Olympics. We're really proud of her. She came in 10th, which is amazing. I mean, she holds it over my head all the time that she's competed for the United States. All I've ever done is competed for New York. And so she always she drives that needle a little bit sometimes, but it's awesome. It's really neat for her, and something that she's very proud of.
I was thinking about it too, back to the Ring of Honor thing for a second. You're one of 3 Jets that are going to go into the Ring of Honor this year. And the other 2 guys, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, who was another offensive lineman, and Darrell Revis, who played on defense, they were teammates of yours. Mm-hmm. So that's got to feel a little bit more gratifying for you that, okay, you had your day, and now you're going to get to come back on those other 2 Sundays and then be a part of a nice ceremony for guys that you went out there and laid it on the line with and are friends of yours.
Yeah, it's great. Especially DeBrickashaw, us coming in together in 2006 and then playing our whole careers together. It's very special. And then Revis, obviously being able to be around him as a teammate coming in just a year after we did, and seeing him develop and seeing what he was able to do was really special. So I think it's pretty cool the way that, Woody told the 3 of us at the same time, and then we each get a day to be able to celebrate. And so I'm looking forward to those ones. Because I have nothing to do then.
Right. You can just enjoy it.
I just get to enjoy it.
No speeches, no worrying about bringing family and friends in. Just let it all hang out.
Just let it all hang out and have a good time.
Nice.
Listen, I apologize for being a self-indulgent Englishman, but Nick, I need to talk to you about your experiences of coming over here, coming to London. You rode around in a black cab. You went to a pub. You drank traditional English beer as well. Tell us about your experiences. Did it live up to all of the stereotypes of the UK that I see in South Park, in Family Guy, in The Simpsons? Are my teeth really that bad? And also, how's your English accent?
My English accent is crap, so I'm not even going to try to that. But I have picked up a little bit of language. I do cheers every once more than I probably should. Throwing out the cheers, mate. But it was awesome. I loved it. It was so much fun. It was neat, and it was being able to go to different, like I'm always interested in history, and I was a big fan of like around us. We have older things here. You go to some places and you see buildings from like the 1700s, and you're like, wow, that's really old. And then you go over to the UK, And then all of a sudden you're drinking a pub that's like from 1454 and you're like, wow, that's old. And so that's it's neat. There's so much history and so much going on. And, and it's nice. Luckily, we both speak the same language because it's like New York, but just somewhere else. And I love the food. I know people always trash British food. I don't know why. I think it's fantastic. I love traditional English breakfast.
Yes.
That is good stuff. Although I don't like the blood sausage, and not because of what it is. I just feel like it's too dry. I feel like it has a dryness to it that isn't doesn't go well with my breakfast.
Dude,
Richie,
I was gonna say I've not even heard of blood sausage. Do you mean black pudding by any chance?
Yeah, black pudding.
That's
I
the
think
one.
we refer to it as blood.
Yeah,
sausage.
to be fair, I don't think many people over here even like it ourselves, to be honest.
Could you explain to the naive American what's a traditional English breakfast?
Okay, here we go. Let's rock and roll. A traditional English breakfast has got to be at least 2, preferably fried eggs. Got to have toast or maybe fried bread if you're feeling really adventurous. Baked beans, you got your mushrooms, you got your bacon, definitely some bacon in there as well. And then if you want, you could fry a little tomato or grill a little tomato and throw it on there. Your brown sauce, because brown sauce is essential, or ketchup. You can get away with ketchup. And I don't feel like I've missed anything. Maybe hash brown, maybe.
Wow.
But that might not be very English.
You get a little potato croquette of some sort, like a shredded brown croquette.
I didn't mention sausages.
You tried the sausages. I wasn't going to correct you, but I wouldn't want to do that.
No breakfast cereal, nothing light like that or anything? No?
No. Why go light when you can go full English?
I guess so. And still have lunch on top of it. How about that?
That's when we start having the pies.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the pies I love a good pie.
Nick, was there anything weird about the UK that you found?
Weird? No, not really. I mean, it's always interesting to me, the left side, right side debate. I think the weirdest thing, which I really enjoyed, was when you go to a crosswalk, they tell you the direction that you should look right or look left. So that way you don't get hit by a car because everyone else is driving on the right side.
That's nice of them.
It's very nice, but it's so funny, like weird. Like you come up to a crosswalk, it's like, all right, look left. And you're like, oh, all right. And then you cross the turn lane or whatever. So I found that a little weird. Like we have to explain this to people, but I do very much enjoy driving on the left side of the road. It's a lot of fun. I think just because it's something different.
Did it take you a while to feel comfortable doing that?
And I love a good roundabout.
The circles. Yes.
Nothing better than a roundabout.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, you don't have roundabouts over there?
Very few.
Very few.
Right?
It's very disappointing. There's one that I've frequent.
There's Columbus Circle in Manhattan. I know that.
Columbus Circle, but even then, it's so congested. You don't get the full experience.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them personally.
I love
Nick,
them.
when you said there's one you frequent, does that mean you go up to it just to drive around in circles over and over again, just to get that full experience, scratch that itch, and then get off of it?
It's in a small town around us, and so we like to go there for breakfasts and everything. So I typically go out of my way so that way I can use the roundabout, even though it takes me a little bit longer.
What town is this?
It's down in Delaware.
Oh, in Delaware.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where Nick likes to hang out.
Yeah, my hideaway.
That's a couple of miles from here, I would say. Just a couple.
Just a couple.
Back on your career for 1 second, though.
Are you getting tired of the English talk?
No, I like the English talk. I mean, this is what we do a lot of this. You guys are a lot more experienced at it than I am, though, but I'm always looking to learn and to be educated here.
Mm-hmm.
During your career, though, who was the one player, maybe multiple players, that you had to go into battle with on that line that you enjoyed those competitions the most?
Vince Wilfork, obviously,
the Patriots.
With the Patriots, you look at the guy and you see that he's a massive human, but then he's also very athletic. So that, always challenging. And then usually like anyone that has a name to him, like, and you watch film and you find out who's good and you try to study. And if you want to be the best, you should, want to enjoy going against the best, to measure yourself. So, that was always fun. And then, lastly, Kyle Williams up in Buffalo didn't get enough credit. Defensive tackle. He was fantastic. And he was one of those ones that, he's like the little yippy dog that will never leave you alone. Like just stays right there. Like that's him for the whole game.
Wow.
I don't know if this is going to give away where my priorities lie, but gentlemen, we need to talk about some sauce. By sauce, I mean specifically barbecue sauce. Nick, you have your own line of barbecue sauce.
Yes.
That's amazing. But Why?
Why? Because it sounded like fun. So I got into like true barbecuing around 2010, 11. My wife got me a Big Green Egg, which is a smoker.
He's good with that thing, by the way. He's very good.
And I fell in love with it. And then, so I was buying barbecue sauce at the store, which is not a bad thing because I want you to go buy my sauce. But I was like, oh, you know what? I'm pretty handy in the kitchen. I think I could make my own. So I started dabbling in recipes and everything and trying to come up with something. Came up with one that I really enjoyed. When I got done playing, we're just chatting along, like, oh, what do you want to do with yourself? And somehow it came up that I made my own barbecue sauce, and it was like, all right, do you want to maybe try to sell that? And I was like, it sounds like a grand old time, good hobby, good passion project to do. And so we ran with it. And so we've been going now about 2 years, but we started. Our first line of production came off in March 2020, right at the start of COVID pandemic, which was terrible timing to start a barbecue sauce. Because if you want to sell barbecue sauce, you need people to taste it so they know that it's good and they want to buy it. People were not too friendly or took kindly to me being like, hey, here, try this.
I've got so much time for that. But Dan, you've probably got a football question lined up.
Well, I mean, when you look at the way, you've been out of the game now for what? How many years has it been since you retired? About 6 years?
Last time I played on the field was in 2016.
Okay, so about 6 years. Do you think the game has changed much during that time? I mean, it has a little bit, to a certain degree with rules and so on and so forth, but do you see any difference when you watch the game now?
I think I will say, as a grumpy old man shaking my fist at the clouds, I feel like there is a downslip of technique. And I'm speaking specifically to offensive line. I feel like guys are getting away with a lot of lesser technique, which is kind of disappointing because, you take great pride in this craft. And I just don't think they have the time to practice it. I think with the rules that have been put in place, limiting contact and whatnot in light of player safety, I think it's hurting the game a little bit.
Interesting. And a lot of people have said that too as well, but safety is becoming of the utmost priority more than anything else, Richie. It really and truly is in this league.
Most definitely. Listen, Nick, before you go, I've got one more question. I don't know if you noticed, but I grew my beard out, especially to chat to you because you have got magnificent facial hair. How do you grow it so well? B, who are your favorite beards of all time?
So really the
important questions here. I asked the questions that people want to know.
This is and it's what people want to know. You to grow it this way, you just have to stop caring. Once you stop caring what you look like, it just kind of flows.
COVID helped with that for a lot of people.
I stopped caring years ago, probably 2009. I would say it was probably when I stopped caring and just, all right, let it go. Like Elsa, I was just letting it go.
Little Frozen reference for all the kids out there.
Yeah, for the kids. And then, but now I got lost in forgetting about how I looked. What was the second part of that? It was beards that I really enjoy.
Yes.
So obviously, I think one of the classic Abraham Lincoln. I think he had a lovely beard. Ryan Fitzpatrick has a fantastic
former
beard.
teammate. Yeah.
Eric Weddle, DB he was last on the Rams. His beard. Brett Kiesel, Pittsburgh Steelers. He had a fantastic beard. So there's a lot of great beards running around the NFL, and I love it.
When was the last time you were clean shaven completely? Do you remember?
I don't.
It's been that long.
It's been that long.
I'm trying to remember since you came into the league. Probably.
There may have been once. I think I lost a bet or something where I had to shave it all off. But it grew back pretty quickly. And I vowed at that point that I was never doing that again because you see my double chin and it just doesn't look.
Because Nick came into the league, Richie, in 2006. So that's 16 years ago. So if he can't even remember that back, when he was clean shaven, I mean, that's a good run right there.
Nick, if you check in with your beard WhatsApp group, maybe you might find the information that you need.
Exactly. It's a support group, really.
Exactly.
From all over the world. The WhatsApp is funny. I like that. It's such a I feel like it's very British. I don't know why it is that way. But like going over to London, they're like, "Oh, do you have WhatsApp?" I was like, "WhatsApp what?" She's like,
"What's WhatsApp?"
Like, it's messaging. I was like, "Oh, I use my phone."
Yeah,
like, iMessage. It's pretty easy. And they go, "Oh, no, you need to have WhatsApp." I was like, "Yeah, WhatsApp what?" So we we're going in circles. So finally, I got it. And then just recently, in a parent group. Lady was trying to set up a group for parents of a class and using WhatsApp, and come to find out she's also British. So,
really?
Yeah. So I feel like it's a very British thing.
Nick, listen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been an absolute honor to chat to you, and you've been a brilliant sport. Thank you. Enjoy the season. Any hopes for the season ahead?
Yeah, we have the North London Derby coming up. Big clash Saturday.
Yes.
And so I'm looking forward to that, 7:30 Eastern time.
There you go.
And then football-wise, just looking for this team to keep improving, keep getting better, win some games, and, give the fans the excitement that they're looking for.
Love that. Thank you so much, Nick Mangold.